I'm alone in the world, ignored by the people. Broken, bleeding, left for dead. I'm too high to notice. I've got no choice. The only hope that I have is the hope that someone will be kind and give me a dime. Every dime turns into $1, and every dollar into 10. It just takes time. But I'm sick and tired of people just passing me by. Am I nothing to you? I'm starting to believe it. Don't leave me behind. I've got nowhere to go. Nobody to hold me and tell me that it's okay. Once I get enough money, if I don't spend on food or booze or drugs, I'll buy a bag of candies, trying to sell them to every passerby. Sleeping on the sidewalks, selling suckers and sewing kits and socks, fighting for my life day in and day out. This is it. This is my life. The hopelessness of it eats away at me slowly until I dive back into something to escape. Drugs, alcohol, prostitution. A look from the outside shows a 14-year-old boy living on the street since he was a baby. And it's not just him. I have many different faces. I have the face of a mother of 3 who's so drunk she pees herself. Of a man with haunted eyes who begs just so he can eat. And a 14-year-old girl who's married and pregnant with her first child. I have the face of a man forgotten in the back room of a hospital, so sick he's coughing up blood. Of an old woman who's addicted to drugs and steals to get by. And of a man with no hands or legs, with a bucket and a sign. I'm the 16-year-old girl with a child of her own who also takes care of her 8 younger siblings. The young man who sleeps in doorways and uses the sidewalk as a bathroom. And the mother and her disabled child who plead half-heartedly because nobody hardly listens to them anymore. All we ask is for one thing: kindness. One loving act, like listening to me, an old man, confused and lonely, wandering the streets, desperate for human interaction. I mutter to my feet as the people pass me by and turn away with scrunched up faces. I walk through the crowds of people who choose not to see me. All I want is for someone to listen for a while. Someone to make me feel like I'm worth seeing, worth listening to. That little kindness makes me walk away with a smile, feeling a little lighter, a little bit more like a human again. That's all I want, that kindness.
So I was headed to the city on outreach, just thinking about the convenience of having things be right there on the streets when I need them, until I look to the left and to the right, and I see them. Then you ask, the real people who live on the sides of the streets, selling lollipops and socks just to have something to eat. Some were high, some were drunk, and some were asleep on the corners. And I realized in that moment when we saw them that we could give them a listening ear or a cup of water, a sandwich, whatever we had, but afterwards we walk away. We leave them there. Someone's mom or dad. We walked away to our bunk beds and ramen noodles, but they never went home, not to their families or their poodle. No, they don't experience clean sheets on the bed. They sleep on cement park benches, some so high they're left for dead. But don't be so quick to judge their addictions. What could you say you would do if you were born into the same gruesome conditions? It hit me that day. I walk away, but they stay. That's their life, day in and day out. It's heartbreaking, but that's what this awareness is about. This awareness that, as painful as it is real. It's there. And these are God's kids. They're born into drugs, violence, begging, and prostitution. And this is the reality, but we can refuse to let that truth sink in. This awareness that stopped me cold in my tracks. And it hurt. But I asked God to keep it, because I don't want to just throw it back. No, I don't want to just run away. I want to feel what he is feeling. Even though I see my selfish heart it's revealing, I want to walk with him through some of the pain he feels, even in just one day. Back to this awareness of how God's heart burns for their freedom. And it's true, he does. Don't you see how much they need him? Yes, I thought even if I live the rest of my life hurting after hearing one more person's story, at least I'll be empathizing with the man of sorrows we know rises in glory. Yes, I thought even if I die brokenhearted for just the one, at least I didn't live my life for myself, ignoring the pain and injustice. And here I am, only on the surface, of understanding God's heart for pain and justice, knowing so many people have walked away from him crying out, "How could you let this happen?" When so much of that is beyond our comprehension. Between sin and our choices, we've created a war zone for brokenness and oppression. However, I'm committed to believing that my God is good, he is who he says he is, and he wants those who are swamped in depression. So no, I didn't walk away from the streets with a clean mission suite thinking all was good and well and we made San Jose swell. No, instead I left with a broken heart, carrying a ring in my pocket from a drunk mom who cried as I held her, a hair tie on my wrist from a boy who's lived all his 8 years in the slums. I left feeling messy, but undoubtedly loved by a God who never forgets me, or her, or him. Questions in my heart, wet tears on my face, and prayers in my spirit, but knowing that my God is the one who lives his life every single day with this awareness that continues to sit.
My heart breaks for you, but it's your brokenness that hides you from what's true. Riddled with darkness and despair, you believe that I don't care. All that you don't understand is in the palm of my hand. I carried your hardships with a cross on my back. With every lash lashed and every nail nailed, I thought only of you. You sons and daughters, I never left you like a lamb to be slaughtered. What you don't see is how I am running and running and running to you. I desire nothing more than to wipe those tears from your face until every last painful memory is erased. My hand is stretched out to you. I see you there sitting in the dust. Look and see how I am seated beside you, and my promises are where you can trust. Every day, more and more of you are taking my hand, letting my scars cover yours. Your worn and dusty clothes are washed clean, and now we sit in heavenly places together, in meadows of green. I'm well pleased with you, my child. You answered my call, and you brought hope to the lost. You persisted and pursued no matter what the cost. I gave you my heart, and you didn't shy away from it. Heartbreak and sorrow, we shared every last bit of it. But don't run from this compassion, dear one. It's a powerful tool that will stay with you until your days on this earth are done. It will take you across oceans and around mountains. My fountains will never run dry for you. I will make a way. And remember that there will come a day when every ear will hear, and every knee will bow, and every tongue will confess. Remember that the war was won with the blood of my son. So until that day comes when tears are no more, step out into the waves and leave behind the shore. And you, my beloved, my church, I have not forgotten about you. I've been with you since long ago, but many of you focus only on what lies in tomorrow. Goals that need to be met, jobs that need to be worked, lives that need to be provided for. There's no shame or condemnation for this. I'm just reminding you what you might have missed. You see, life isn't about doing all that you can today to make it past tomorrow. It's about relationships with your friends, with your families, with me. Plus the ones that you often don't see. Sit in the back of the classroom or on their lonely hospital beds, out street corners where they were probably left for dead. On a bus, drowning out the world in headphones, or even in your own homes, with their eyes glued to their telephones. These are my children, and they're not just a few. Won't you stop and see how I died for them too? In fact, I paid the price for all of you. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, nurses, students, salesmen, you don't have to travel the world to have a mission. Because I don't just want few, I want all of you. So step out and bring hope to the lost. Pay no mind to whatever might be the cost. You were never meant to stay silent. Break out of your cage and remember that I will be with you always until the very end of the age.